This virtue of justice comprises also other kinds of virtue in regard to the neighbor, such as judging others in the public and civil courts or in private. Our Savior refers to the contrary vice when he says in St. Matthew, "Judge not that you may not be judged." These judgments are formed by each one according to the estimate which is in his own mind. Therefore they are just judgments if they are conformable to reason, and unjust if they disagree with it. Our sovereign queen never exercised the office of a public or civil judge, although she had the power to be the judge of all the universe. But by her most equitous counsels during the time of her life and afterwards, through her intercession, she fulfilled what was written about her in the Proverbs. I walk in the paths of justice, and through me the mighty decree justice. As regards particular judgments, no justice ever could find a place in the most pure heart of Most Holy Mary, for she could never be imprudent in her suspicions or rash in her judgments, nor was she troubled by doubts, nor, if she had any, would she ever decide them unkindly for the worse part. These vices of injustice are proper and natural, as it were, to the children of Adam, who are dominated and enslaved by the disorderly passions of hate, envy, ill-natured emulation, and other evil inclinations. From these bad roots sprout unjust suspicions with slight foundations, rash judgments, and prejudiced solution of doubts, for each one easily presumes in his brother his own faults. Because they are filled with hate and envy at the prosperity of their neighbor, and rejoice at his misfortune, they lightly give belief where there are no grounds, only yielding to their bad desires, and allowing their judgments to drift in accordance with their wishes. From all these consequences of sin our Queen was free, as she had no part in sin. All was charity, purity, sanctity, and perfect love. Whatever entered or came from the sanctuary of her heart, in her was all the grace of truth and the way of life. In the plenitude of her sanctity and science, she doubted nothing, she suspected nothing, for she was aware of all the secrets hidden in the hearts of men, and searched their souls with the light of truth and mercy, not suspecting evil, and never attributing blame where none was due. On the contrary, she was solicitous to excuse the sins of men, in justice and equity, yielding to each and every one his dues. Her most earnest desire was to fill all men with the sweetness and the graciousness of her virtues. In the two different kinds of commutative and distributive justice, there are contained many other kinds or species of virtues, but I will only refer to them insofar as to say that all of them, both as habits and as acts, were possessed by the Most Holy Mary in the highest and most excellent degree. Some of these virtues are related to justice, because they are exercised in our intercourse with our neighbor, and partake to a certain extent, though not in all their bearings, of the nature of justice, either because we are unable to pay fully what we owe, or because, if we are able, the debt or obligation is not so strict as that which is incurred by commutative or distributive justice. I will not enter upon a full explanation of these virtues, since they are various and numerous, but in order not to pass them over entirely, I will give a short summary so as to show how our sovereign and most high princess was adorned with all of them. It is a just obligation to give worship and reverence to those who are placed above us. According to the greatness of their excellence and their dignity, and according to the benefits which we receive at their hands, varies also our obligation and the reverence which we owe them, although no return on our part can equal the benefit or the dignity. The first virtue of this kind is that of religion, by which we give to God due worship and reverence, though his magnificence and his gifts exceed infinitely all that we will ever be able to return in thanks or praise. Among the moral virtues, this one is the most noble on account of its object, namely the worship of God, and its subject matter is as extensive as there are ways and means of directly praising and reverencing God. In this virtue of religion are comprehended all the interior acts of prayer, contemplation, and devotion, with all their parts, conditions, causes, effects, and purposes. Among exterior actions, latria, which is the supreme outward adoration due only to God, falls under this head, and with it also all its different kinds of parts, namely sacrifices, oblations, tithes and vows, oaths, exterior and vocal offering of praise. For in all these actions, if they are performed in the proper manner, God is honored and reverenced by the creatures, just as he is very much offended in the contrary vices.